Hello everybody and welcome to another game stuff video. It has been, at least at the time of recording, literally 2 months since I published the last one. And so yeah, let's see what's been happening over the past couple of months in the games industry. We'll start with Battlefield 2042, and this was actually literally as I published the last video. Actually, this became a thing, or became announced. And as you all know, Battlefield 2042 has not been doing very well since its launch for many reasons. But things are getting so bad that one of their big advertisement points was the 128 player in game modes, and that has just been scaled down to 64, I believe. Now they have, EA claims that they're gonna keep supporting the game and da-di-da-di-da, and there's a lot of things coming, something like that, but a lot of us are skeptical for many reasons, but I guess time will tell. But nonetheless, it is worth mentioning that one of their big selling points has now actually changed sometime after release, and regardless of what they may say the reason is, we know that the game has been struggling for months on matchmaking on various platforms, because players have said so, because players can't find lobbies. So yeah, okay, that is interesting and not exactly good for Battlefield. Now the other interesting thing is, actually in June it gained quite a few players, as we can see here on Steam charts, and this is obviously only based on Steam, not taking into account the other platforms. But in June it raised, over 225% increase on players, which, sounds a lot, but the game was kind of dying already. But still, it was over 4,400 players. But now in the past 30 days it has gone downhill by over 15% as well, so 6,000 24-hour peak. That's not bad, that's okay. But for a Battlefield game, you'd expect more than that, because these are the kind of numbers that all the games are also getting, and sometimes they actually get higher. All the Battlefield games, I mean. So this isn't exactly great. But we'll move on, because this is a sinking ship unless EA managed to turn it around. They've done well with previous bad releases in the past, but the game is always tarnished forever, and they just don't learn their lesson. They want to keep releasing broken games, and they now maybe try and fix it. Why you're going to fix a game after everyone has left the game? The whole point, like you see here, 100,000 players all-time peak. The idea for a game to succeed is to maintain as many of these players as possible. Obviously, yes, some people will live for 1,000 reasons. People, after they played the game for the first time, they will go on to something else. Even the fact alone that some people will just play the game because it's the last new thing, and they don't actually like that game mode, but everyone is playing, or they don't like that game. That so many people are like that. They literally play the game the first day and never touch it again. So yeah, you're not gonna retain every player, obviously, but retaining such a tiny percentage of players, to a point that games that are years old actually have more players than the latest title, that is obviously not a good sign. That is indeed pretty bad. We'll move on to Cyberpunk 2077, another game that did have a pretty rough launch. It is in a pretty good state these days, it must be said. Obviously that doesn't take away the fact that it was pretty broken and it should never have been released when it was. But this time Cyberpunk has been on the news because someone has been data mining one of the patches that came out, I believe, and found some lines of dialogue that reveal some stuff about the future DLC, and perhaps the only major DLC the game will get, which we don't know for sure yet, and as Project Red are not saying one way or the other. But with all the time that they've lost trying to fix the game rather than developing content, many suspect that we'll see a major update maybe, and then they'll move on to the next game, because ultimately it is a company that wants to make money, so they will want to work on the next title to be released in the next few years. The longer they delay that, the longer it will take for them to get, another huge revenue stream. So yeah, hundreds of lines of dialogue reportedly from Cyberpunk 2077's first expansion have appeared online, seemingly outlining the entire plot of the DLC's questline. And this goes, so got down here, according to Reddit users, the expansion will take players to the combat zone, an area of the Pacifica region which was inaccessible in the base game but did feature in the art books in the world of Cyberpunk 2077. So that could be cool, a new zone to play with. That will definitely be cool, and I think the game does deserve at least that. And hopefully they can add a few other things. Players will also be able to visit the Sports Dome, the largest inaccessible arena from the main game, which will be the location of one of the main missions. So yeah, interesting stuff. If this proves to be true, but we'll have to wait and see. And this article was from VGC. I will move on to Blizzard. And their big release over the past couple of months, Diablo Immortal. So one of their biggest franchises, Diablo, and they've decided to go mobile. And going mobile, we always knew that there was big danger there, because mobile games are normally trash. They're just super monetized. And honestly, we were surprised. The game wasn't just, monetized, they didn't do an average mobile game. No, they actually did a very good mobile game. For mobile game standards, the game is pretty good. However, its monetization is far worse than most people would have believed. To max everything with money, you're looking at over $500,000. Now, as you guys know, I have been playing Naruto Online, which is a pay-to-win gacha game, for 6 years, and I did well on it for quite a few years. And honestly, it doesn't even compare to Diablo Immortal. The Diablo Immortal is such at a level of monetization that there's nothing else out there at the moment that remotely comes close. And this is from a AAA. This is a AAA release. So yeah, great times for games. We're definitely heading in the right direction. Blizzard did make quite a lot of money at the beginning. A lot of people saying, yes, not making as much money because of, compared to all the games. Yes, that's true, but these games will keep making money. They will keep bringing money every month, because you're not waiting on sales that will just die down after the first week or two of release. These will keep people spending, will keep the wealth spending. And it did take a hit early on, because it was not released on the China market. But we're going to get to that in a second, and there's been a very recent update on that. And Blizzard being Blizzards, they're all defending their microtransactions, including CEO, and an interview that he did, this Migh or something, whatever his name is. Yeah, it's down here on the screen, isn't it? Yes, of course he defends it. It's making the money. Of course he's going to defend it. And we had, I don't know what's his name, Chong or something, also defending, the advertisement that they did for the game. Yes, you can't buy gear and stuff like that. So, he wasn't paid to win in that kind of sense. Yeah, you can't buy gear. You buy shit that you attach to the gear. That's where all your power comes from. Like, most of the power that your increases will come from those gems that you put on your gear. That's where you're making the money. So yeah, say whatever you want, but it is obviously they are using the same old reason most players don't spend money. Yeah, that is such a dumb and weak excuse that only brainlets that can't think of a legit reason, because there isn't one, to an argument will use an excuse that low. And that's obviously what these companies do every single time. EA does it all the time. Every single of these companies does it. Because, they don't care. They're making money. It's all about the money. It doesn't matter how dumb and hypocrite they sound. It's making money. That's all it matters. So yeah, I've started playing the game myself. I think I've released a small video of my first few steps in the game. I think I only need another 1 or 2 sessions after, which I've got some footage to edit on that. And then I gave it a little bit of a break because I'm hoping it becomes, obviously the pay to win is never going to go away. But I'm hoping that they change the reward system a little bit, that free-to-play players can actually get a bit more. So that my grind, because I think I'm mid-20s now in the game. And to get to level 60 is going to be such a grind. And from level 30 onwards, you really feel the XP grind. So I'm leaving that for now. It's a game that is still installed and I'll play it whenever. I haven't touched it in weeks at this point. But I'll definitely go back to it. I'm not planning on spending though, so I'll try to do the story, which is what I recommend anybody that really wants to play the game. Just do the story. Don't get stuck on the grinding, because then it might tempt you to spend as well to skip the grinding. And once you get to end game, there's nothing for you to do really. You can't go into PvP because you're gonna get destroyed by whales. So just go and play another game. I mean, to be honest, there's so many games out there. There's no reason why anybody should stuck with this game once they finish the story. And this goes the same for many other games. And if they release stuff later on, you can always come back to it and just play it there, because that's the other problem with the monetization on this game even, is a lot of these systems, like we see with gacha games, which, I mean, technically this is exactly like a gacha game in Diablo Immortal. What we will have these systems expanded on, as well as mark certain systems and things like that. New systems will be put in place or will be upgraded and changed in various ways that players can spend on. Like we see, for example, the Naruto Online game that I've played for years. How many times have the systems changed so that further upgrades can be made, therefore enabling players to spend more money to get such upgrades? And that is something that we are likely to see on Diablo Immortal. Maybe not for a few months, especially as costly as it is to get most things upgraded, but it will definitely be coming at some point. In terms of all the content, God knows, maybe some more bits of story here and there. It's hard to say what kind of support the game will get, because it is a mobile game that is just there to make money. Oh, that was a lot to say. Now, moving on to the next bit of Diablo Immortal is the China bit. A lot of people were saying it was banned, and I kept saying on Discord, and even I think some YouTube comments, it is not banned, it will just be delayed for a bit. It doesn't matter if the reason, even if the reason that the game did not release as planned in China was because of some social media post about Winnie the Pooh, and obviously the Communist Party leader, that is only going to delay it. It's not going to be banned for that, because there's politics involved, there's money involved, and this actually was a lot shorter than I thought, because even Tencent, the biggest company, games publisher in China, had one of their biggest titles delayed by a year, like one bloody year. And it looks like NetEase, which is the second biggest company over there, and Blizzard only get the game delayed by a month, as the game is expected to release in China in the next couple of days. And Blizzard, they will be partying in these yachts and doing all sorts of crazy stuff to celebrate this during this weekend, because this is where the big money is going to come in now. The Chinese market is unlocked for them, and you're going to get all the Chinese whales in the game. They're literally hitting the jackpot, and this is what they were after. The game was developed for China, because they knew the West was going to hate this type of game, pay to win game. We criticize them a lot, and we'll even get some media articles on them. But that's not why they were releasing it. That's not the market that they aim for. Yes, they're going to make shit tons of money in the West as well, no doubt. But China is where the big bucks will come in. And they've secured that. It looked a bit iffy at one point, but it took them less than a month to get it sorted, and will be released literally a month after the original date. Nothing lost there, absolutely. Happy days for them. So this article from Bloomberg, read a little bit of it. NetEase Incorporate, whatever, is planning to debut the Diablo Immortal mobile game in China on July 25th, a month after the highly anticipated title was originally scheduled to launch in the world's biggest gaming market. China's largest game company, after Tencent Holdings Limited, has won the go-ahead to release the game it co-developed with Activision Blizzard. Following a controversial social media post that halted the rollout, people familiar with the matter said, "Yeah, it may well have been, we don't know for sure, but it may well have been. The date is still subject to last-minute changes," they added, asking to not be identified discussing private information. Diablo Immortal, the latest installment of Blizzard's iconic franchise, is one of China's few blockbuster releases this year, following a months-long drought imposed by regulators. China's 44 billion gaming arena is expected to be Immortal's biggest market, and the game's debut will lift a cloud of uncertainty hanging over long-time partners NetEase and Blizzard. Shares in NetEase jumped to more than 5% in pre-market trading in New York. Yes, because they can see they're gonna be making the big money. So yes, of course investors are happy. And yeah, we're just gonna leave it there. I don't care. So pending any disastrous changes, yeah, China will be making that sweet money for Blizzard next week. Probably by the time this video goes up. I don't know, I'm hoping I get this video out on the 24th. It might be the 25th. We'll move on to the next story though. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4 remasters were cancelled after developer merger. These, I believe, came from Tony Hawk himself at first. That did not go down with fans quite well, because Pro Skater 1 and 2 had been recently remastered and everyone loved it. It was freaking awesome, great. I'm not a huge fan of skater games. I know some of my mates are, and you know they're great games. Don't get me wrong. They look amazing. The remaster looked superb, so everyone was hoping they would get 3 and 4, but sadly that's not the case. This article is from GamesRadio.com, and the reason mentioned here, like it's been mentioned all over the media, is because Activision has decided to merge Vicarious Visions with Blizzard. Vicarious Visions are the ones that did the work on the previous remasters, and they're pretty damn good at remasters. They will get the job done and then some. I'm just saying. Yeah, it was a plan, so Tony Hawk here to release, and then 3 and 4. But well, the plan has gone to shit, so sorry fans, we're not going to give you something that you might actually want. We're going to go and work on some Diablo Immortal type bullshit. Right, and we shall move on to our next subject, which is a game that we've had released, kind of gone under the radar a little bit, and that is from Ubisoft Roller Champions. Best way to describe this is probably, you know, you're playing Rocket League, but you don't have a car or a rocket, you have rollerblades instead. So arena type multiplayer game, which looks interesting. There are a few ifs about it. The game is free to play, and that's when people start raising eyebrows, understandably so. It seems to be cosmetics only and stuff like that you can spend on in the game, which is great. At least for now. You never know with these games. It can change monetization after a few months, after a year, after a few weeks, you know. It's hard to say. The other issue with the game is that everyone is worried about the content. And this is always the problem with free-to-play games that are, you know, out there as live services, because that's the only way that free-to-play games can make money. And I understand they need to make money, because obviously, you know, it isn't free to develop and maintain these games. But to maintain the players, you need to keep content coming out, and I guess time will tell, because this is a market that is getting is quickly getting oversaturated. Everyone is getting free-to-play games out there. Even mobile free-to-play games are now being released across platform. There are only so many players in the world, so yes, you can launch 1 million games free-to-play, but a lot of them will fail. So the jury is still out on this one. Reviews are kind of mixed, but I would say mixed to positive from what I've seen around. It just, whether in a couple of months' time there will still be any players playing or not. The other issue that I find with this game, it is not on Steam. It is on consoles, and it is on Ubisoft's, what's the name? Ubisoft's launcher, whatever, Connect thingy, I think it's called. And it is on Epic, yeah. But I feel like it should be on Steam. If you really want to catch as many players as possible, it should be on Steam. Maybe I'd try it if it was on Steam. I don't know, and maybe like me there are others out there. And we've seen this this happens with a lot of games. You see a difference when because Steam is still the place to be on PC. Doesn't matter what Epic can bankrupt itself trying to get players from Steam by offering free games all the time, which actually the latest free games haven't been awesome compared to what they've been offering. But still, Steam is still the place to be. And any game that's all of a sudden unlocks on Steam, like we've been seeing a lot, especially with Sony releasing games on PC, you see the market is there. And we've seen from EA as well when they came back to Steam not long ago. See, that's where the players are. I don't know what Ubisoft is doing, so I guess we'll have to wait and see. And we'll move on to the next one, which is still with EA. And it'll be a quick one. EA, these companies always have to jump on the latest thing on social media, try to gather hype or gather relevance, whatever it is they might be trying to do, but they often don't have their own people doing it. So EA, like most companies out there, employs somebody else, some third party, whatever, to manage their social media platforms. As a result, these people don't care. These people don't know the history of the company they're representing, and certain tweets came out bad. And in this specific tweet, there's this meme apparently going on Twitter. I don't use Twitter. I've got a Twitter account to share my videos, but I'm never really there. But apparently there's this meme going on where you say something good and then you put like a but on it to say something bad. And EA wanted to jump on a trend, and they went with they're a 10, but they only like playing single player games. Clearly taking a dig at single player people. And EA has a history, a very bad history of past few years of criticizing single player games. It's come from their CEO saying people don't want to play this, they want to play multiplayer games because this is what they want, because they want live services and all sorts of shit. They want to keep milking. They don't want an experience out that you pay whatever, you get the game, you enjoy that, and maybe you get some DLC after, and we can tolerate that. But EA doesn't want that. They want live services that keep on failing, because EA and live services, that is a very rocky history right there. But anyway, they did go and posted this, and they got absolutely destroyed. They got destroyed. Oh, so many kittens! They even had their own studios, their own staff commenting on them, like Vince Zampella. I'm just going down all the Twitter threads, but anyway. They even had Vince Zampella commenting with the facepalm emoji. So this did not go down well. This is a terrible tweet, but this is what you get when you employ people that don't actually know anything about your company. And serve them right, absolutely serve them right. They tried to backtrack it later with some like, they made a joke kind of it or whatever. I don't have the tweet pulled up, but a bit too late at that point. But yeah, we get it. It's not EA doing it, but still they're representing EA. So I'm sorry, yeah. EA taking digs again at single player people, even though they're developing some single player games again. Because why? Well, they've had some successes, and guess what? People do like single player games. No shit, who'd have told you that? Anyway, Game Informer article, and what was this one about? Oh yes, it is EA still. Oh my god, EA are on a roll. So yeah, news on a new skate game. I know we're talking about Tony Hawk's before. those were great games as well. The skate game was also loved by many. I actually didn't like it when I played. I was terrible at it. I think I didn't get it. I got stuck somewhere and I couldn't play it. I think was it Skate 2? Yeah, it is Skate 2. I'm just looking behind me because it's still there on the shelf. And I barely did anything on it. I got stuck early on. I couldn't get what they wanted me to do and I gave up. But, nonetheless, like I said before, I'm not a fan of skating in that, so don't take... I'm not going to comment on them because I'll be biased. And actually, I'm not, because I know the games are great, like I said before. And a lot of people love them. And a lot of people were looking forward when we knew there was a new skate title in development. And after recent news, everyone has gone like, yeah, shit. So, yeah, from Game Informer, the new Skate will be a free-to-play title. And as we've just talked about, the history of free-to-play titles isn't exactly great at the moment. So, a new developer diary has revealed that the new Skate title, which has been officially dubbed simply Skate, will be a free-to-play game. A lengthy update video divulged a number of details, including an idea of how monetization will look and why developer Full Circle chose to go the free-to-play route. Full Circle creative director Cuz Perry explains the decision to go free-to-play stems from the team's desire for players across all platforms, budgets, and easy access is upcoming skateboarding simulator. Yeah, that sounds like everyone would say. That's normal stuff that we hear. And yeah. Do you think that's EA that published this, isn't it? I think. I'm pretty sure it is. I'm talking out of my ass. Yeah, it is an EA title. And like I said before, they don't have a good history on this, so I'm not expecting good stuff out of it. Yes, maybe we'll be fine. Yeah, so yeah, game says something like Apex. Look, if I don't know, maybe you can have the success of Apex Legends, but look, that's games to have that success. It's first, the studio behind it. Apex Legends, one of the best studios out there, and probably the best studio that EA's got. I don't know who these guys are. I don't want to criticize them. But if you think you can just replicate that success, good luck. That's what I'm going to tell you. But we'll have to wait and see. It doesn't look like we're going to be getting a full game at launch. That's the other impression that we get. I don't know. I'm really skeptical on this one. We'll have to wait and see when things get a bit closer and people get their hands on the game. But this is definitely a blow for what we were expecting of the new Skate game. But hey, free-to-play will allow more people to play the game. Yeah, sure. But if they go and play the game and they see it's crap, they won't play it. And then you'll be relying on monetization to keep the game going and to keep future updates and development of the game on track. And if there isn't money coming in because there isn't many players playing, then you're just going to shut it down after a couple of years or so, which is something that we're going to see more and more, and we'll get to that more in a couple of articles in a bit. So yeah, that is it for Skate. Tough news there. And just a brief mentioning as well, Cuphead, a game that grabbed everybody's hearts not long ago when it released, and it's gotten its DLC now. Is it first or the last DLC? I can't remember. But anybody that did get Cuphead should be very happy, because you can see here the DLC overwhelmingly positive on Steam. Awesome stuff. This is what we like to see. Games and content coming out that everybody loves. I love the game art style. It so reminds me of cartoons back in the 90s. It's absolutely awesome. I hope to play it at one point, but we'll have to wait and see if that happens. I know I'm going to suck at it. Probably not going to be, well, hopefully not going to be as bad as that so-called journalist that got stuck and became a bit of a meme and then was criticizing the game just because he got stuck. Look, I'm a noob and I suck at most games, I don't often criticize the game because I'm stuck somewhere, unless there's a game breaking feature there. I'll appreciate them, like even Dark Souls and all that, not my thing. Awesome games, great, they're just not for me. It's not that the games are too hard, yes, they're too hard for me. I don't want to play them much, my choice. Not going to criticize the game just because the game, or because I'm not good enough for the game, or the game wasn't developed for me. No, don't. You're not good enough, fine. So, move on. That's what it is. So, yeah, great to see. Things being well received. There is another good story towards the end of a game that's being very well received, and this is what we like to see, not just games like Diablo Immortal and that, and Battlefield 2042 and broken stuff. It is good to have some nice things out there, even though most of the time, as I keep on saying, they come from indie titles, and it's the case again. It's indies serving shit. But well, from one indie great release, we go to a AAA company up to their old tricks. Now, Ubisoft has been on the news a lot over recent times, and not normally for good reason. Now, I did forget to put this article with earlier on when talking about Ubisoft. I knew there was another article that I had forgotten to merge. But yeah, sorry, we go back to Ubisoft, and this time, yeah, again, for bad reasons why they are being talked about. This article from PCGamer.com, and it's about, well, Ubisoft to pull online from all the games, which also takes away your DLC. This is something I've criticized before, and I think the last time I mentioned this was about Bungie taking out content, vaulting content that people paid for and they could no longer access it. That game has some more excuses going its way than this does. They're limited for whatever reasons, da-di-da-di-da. Still shady, still not good for players, for consumers. This one is just worse, and this is something that we'll be seeing more and more. Maybe in 10, 20 years down the line, companies won't be able to do this. You've sold a product to somebody, that belongs to them. You must make sure they've got it available. But at the moment, such laws, such rules do not exist, so companies can do whatever the hell they want. When you buy something digitally, if you think that you're buying that and you own that, forget it. You're so fucking wrong. What you're buying is a license to something that can be revoked at any time by the issuer. As simple as that. And this goes for most games these days. We're not even at the point where buying a disc, a video game on a disc, guarantees that you can play the game, because most games these days, they're not on a disc. You can buy the disc, but you've got a little code on a disc. You still have to download the entire of the game. And that's literally where we are. There's very few games out there, maybe from some indies, but most indies don't do discs because they can't afford them. That's more costs to do. And most games that you buy now, maybe nearly all games, you don't actually have the games on the disc. You don't own that. If they shut the servers down, you won't be able to get the download for that game, so you don't own shit. So even the discs these days, you're effectively just buying a license. There's no good physical goods there. You paid for something, you have the receipt for it, but you can't do shit with it. You don't actually have the product. Now, rant over on that one. So Ubisoft has announced effective September 1st, all right? It's September 1st. So this was, I think it was 20 days ago. So in July, they announced that they're taking your games down in a couple of months. Yeah. Does that sound like a company that gives even the tiniest of shits about their consumers will do? I mean, surely you'd say, next year, maybe minimum 6 months. Hell, we don't even get 3 months here. I've been ranting so much that I'm losing my voice and my throat is going. We don't even get 3 months. You're being told that in just a couple of months, you will not be able to access your content. It's mad. It's absolutely mad. So yeah, effective September 1, it will be decommissioning the online features of a selection of older games. Older, yeah, we'll get to that older in a minute. I've compiled the list of the PC games affected. the release dates and what features will be removed below. And like I said, this is from PCGamer.com. So, Anno 2070, a game released in 2011, will have multiplayer, linking accounts, and online features taken down. Assassin's Creed 2, released in 2009, multiplayer, linking accounts. Did I say liking on the other one? And online features will be taken down. Assassin's Creed 3, 2012, right? 10 years. The game is only a decade old, right? Multiplayer, linking accounts, online features, and access to DLC. Downloadable content that people have purchased. Yes, you paid for something, you can't fucking have it anymore. Fuck you, we don't give a shit. Well done, Ubisoft, well done. And we'll be seeing a lot more of this in the industry unless the regulators, the government, step in. Assassin's Creed Brotherhood 2010, multiplayer, da-di-da-di-da, and access to DLC. Assassin's Creed Liberation HD 2014 released, access to DLC as well. And this one, if I remember correctly, this one had another controversy out of itself, because on Steam, one of the posts one of the warnings that people noticed that were being published by Steam, I think it said something along the lines of as requested by the publisher or whatever, this game will not be accessible from September 1st. So it wasn't just features being switched off, it's the game being removed altogether. And we still don't know for a fact whether there was a mistake, because Ubisoft said this was a lost in translation, was a misunderstanding that had happened between them and Steam or whatever. We don't know for a fact. Obviously no one was involved in those emails or those meetings, so we don't know what was actually said at start, if they wanted to take the game out altogether or if they just wanted to remove the online features. Nonetheless, the thing is, it just might be shittier than how shit this is, if what they were asking to do was remove the game altogether. But nonetheless, this is pretty shit, because DLC is being removed. Driver San Francisco 2011, a game that I wanted to play, but if I remember correctly, they did the original Driver quite dirty, so I lost interest on it relatively quickly. So again, DLC is going to be removed from that game. Far Cry 3, I believe I played this game. Access to DLC removed. I don't believe I bought it, thank God. Prince of Persia, The Forgotten Sands, released in 2010. Multiplayer gone, other online features, and access to DLC again. This game deserves an extra mention because there isn't much in terms of Prince of Persia games out there. I think they are remaking one, which may be in development. Hell, we don't know for sure. It's been a while since I've seen something on it. But the last we saw, I think it may have been when it was actually announced, people were not impressed on how it looked. I think it needed a lot more time in the oven for sure. So I haven't seen anything else on it, but regardless, I think this game should be kept. I think all these games should be kept, but a bit, I don't know how to feel about this one, because like I said, I don't think there are a lot of these games. Far Cry's, there's this Far Cry copycats all over the place. Especially, Ubisoft, all their games, most of their games are based on the same shit. Anyway, Silent Hunter 5, released in 2010, also losing DLC. And Space Junkies. Now, remember when I mentioned all the games? Yeah. This game was released in 2019, a multiplayer-only title. So you will not be able to play at all. That's it, game is gone. And we've talked about live services already quite a fair bit today, and these free-to-play games coming out and da-di-da-di-da. What do you think is going to happen to most of those games? Because they're not going to succeed. There's not enough people, there's not going to be enough money from players to keep all those live services going. And companies don't want to lose money. Or even if they're just making a bit of money that barely covers the cost of, say, running servers or whatever, they will shut that down. And yeah, 3 years ago this game came out. I hope you've had a good time, because you won't be able to play this anymore. It's gonna disappear from existence. Great. Now, I, as you may have noticed, am one for games preservation. You know, I love my PS3 titles. I've even got some PS2, PS1 classics, and that I've got on the cloud. Yes, I might not be played them, or maybe I only played Crash Bandicoot once in the past 40 years, and I haven't played anything else classic, but I like having the option, and they're mine. And I like to be able to go back and play some older game that I never played. Like, recently I've been looking at ways of playing Legacy of Kain, which I believe it might be on GOG, because I never played any of those games. And I like to have the option. I don't want games to disappear. The games are art styles. They're art created by caring people out there, caring developers. They should not be allowed to disappear. So I am obviously pissed off about this, like many others are. And then the Splinter Cell Blacklist 2013, linking accounts, online features, and multiplayer taken out. See, of all of these games, most of them had DLC. So this means that a lot of people paid extra for some content they will no longer be able to get. And Ubisoft should change this. I know there's server costs, there are, keeping these things on stores, but it's two things. The DLC should be available to purchase at any point. If you just want to keep one server per region with maybe a backup or whatever, it actually doesn't cost that much when you think about it. Just minimize it, but don't allow it to disappear. And obviously people that paid for something, they should have access to it. These things aren't hard to do. And these companies make millions and millions, and they fire their staff, and their CEOs and their non-executives and executives get bonuses and bonuses through the fucking roof. But they can't keep content that costs peanuts in the sense of the money that they waste, that they shouldn't be wasting. They can't keep those things running. That's why, unfortunately, like many other things in gaming and elsewhere, we need the government to step in. And I hate it, because a lot of these things should not need government to step in, and I don't like government stepping over everything. But these companies, like the UK recently said that it will leave, with regards to loot boxes, they will leave companies to control themselves, to police themselves. Well, that's working fucking well, isn't it? It's really working well. Fucking morons. But of course there's all the lobbying from these companies, and yes, we have some countries moving in the right direction in terms of loot boxes and that, like Belgium, Netherlands. There's a few more getting on board, but it's common sense. But common sense doesn't exist when money is at play, and this is exactly what happens here. So fuck this, fuck you Ubisoft, you're just a piece of trash. So NFTs on here. Talking about NFTs, actually. No, maybe I'll leave it, or maybe I'll mention after. Well, with regards to Tony Hawk's Pro Skater now, actually, that the games 3 and 4 have been supposedly cancelled for the remaster, is now gone. Is decided to look like a fool, like many other celebrities out there, and join the NFT craze. Well, Tony Hawk, what you were and what you're becoming. We'll move on from sad Ubisoft, and we'll move again. I could have put this with EA back then. One of the game releases that we've had over the past couple of months as well was Formula 1 22, and the game looks great. The campaign looks great. Lots of praise. Reviews pretty good of the game, but there are some definite issues out there with regards to performance. PS4 and PS5 is specifically, crashing or not loading. I know this for a fact because I bought the game for my mate as his birthday present, and he's got the game crashing. The game has got co-op split screen, so that, you can have it as a party game. It's fantastic, but it's just not working. And yeah, there's some of the things here. You have setting up updates, make sure you whatever. Yeah, everything is done. Everything is up to date and shit, and it's still crashing. So fuck knows what's going on there. And it's got the base PS4, which I know it's a bit outdated at this point, but if you're releasing a game on said console, you should make sure that it was properly inside console, which is not great. I do like Codemasters, but now they're under Electronic Arts umbrella, so I lost a lot more faith on them. Like I said, the game itself looks great, seems to play really nice, but they do have to sort these issues, crashing on PS4 and PS5. I mean, PS5, come on. That is the latest hardware. That thing is stronger than a lot of people's PCs. So, no, they should not be having problems. Sorry, no, developers fucked up. Right, and we'll move on to Rockstar. And this is back to sad news, I'm afraid. Rockstar is killing major themed content updates for Red Dead Online as it focuses on GTA 6. It's an article from GamesRadar.com. This is quite sad for me. I haven't managed to get around to Red Dead 2, even the first one. I played it years after launch. Loved it, great game. Red Dead 2 is also great as well. The online part seems to be pretty good. But the content was never there. I believe the game only really had one piece of content coming out. That's worth talking about. And that is all people are going to get. There's been some other small updates and smaller content. And Rockstar will keep at least the servers running for now and keep doing updates here and there. It's just you're not going to have major content or maybe not content at all coming out as they supposedly work on GTA 6. Now, the reason why I find this sad is because the world of of Grand Theft Auto, of Red Dead is so unique. You've got Grand Theft Auto Online. It's one part of the equation. It's a different game altogether. It's a different world that you can get immersed on. It's more, especially with the weird futuristic vehicles and shite that they've been releasing recently, but it still makes them money. That's why they're going for it. With Red Dead, it's the opposite. It's a classic look. It's an old look, Western atmosphere that you've got to the game, and a lot of people loved it, and I love that. I just haven't managed to get around to play the game, and there is so many ways that could be kept on going, and there is a community there, and a lot of people that have left that game was because there was no content. They screwed up from the beginning, not releasing content to keep players engaged, and that is sad because there's nothing else on the market. There's no other world out there, even if you look at MMOs, really, that you kind of have, that you've got that setting, that similar world to what Red Dead Online has to offer. So yeah, Rockstar just, in my opinion, could not monetize the game the way they can do GTA. Somebody maybe was so blinded by GTA monetization that just like, oh, okay, well, we can't do this in Red Dead Online because it's a different world. I can think, oh, I've got no ideas. What can we launch to make money? I'm pretty sure I could give them a few ideas how to make money. Yes, you can't do the same crazy shit, but you can get armor for the horses, armor for yourself, a lot more of the shit, gun skins. There's so much stuff that it could monetize. That will not affect gameplay, and players that love the game will be spending some money on it, and the game could live a healthier and longer life. But no, they're just getting rid of it so they supposedly can work on GTA 6. But obviously GTA 5 is not going anywhere anytime soon, so there's still heavy focus on that and GTA Online because it's making the money. They can't get shark cards to work on Red Dead apparently, but they're still selling well on Grand Theft Auto. It's sad times. Rockstar, I mean, they're nothing of what they used to be. They literally got nothing else going on. I think it's somewhere in this post. Maybe it was a previous article that I had read. Actually mentioned work on other projects, and that's why they would. No, it's not. There's no other projects. Rockstar's got nothing. They had the trilogy, the GTA trilogy coming out, that they didn't even develop it. They got some whatever silly company, excuse me, to get that game out, which is what was a freaking mess, because Rockstar didn't even care to pay attention to the game and say, oh, we can't release this. They literally don't care. They've got no other projects. GTA 6, yeah, I'm sure they're working on that, because that is all they have, is GTA 5, GTA 6. There's nothing else. Rockstar of old is gone. Forget it. Now they're just making money for, what is it? Is it Take-Two that owns them? Yeah, Take-Two. That's it. They're not a lapdog, but they're the hound, I guess, of Take-Two. That's it. You're making the money there. Just that's it. That's all you're gonna do. You're gonna focus on that. That's it. That's all you're gonna get. Now, you guys can remind me, what's that saying about having all the eggs in one basket? I don't know. I can't quite think of it. But I'm sure there's something like that. So, yeah, enjoy it while it lasts, Rockstar. Enjoy it. It's one little screw up. And rest in peace. To happy story again, and it is, like I mentioned earlier, it is indie title. It is an indie title these days that we have to, talk about and be excited about. Short game, Stray, that just came out, I think on the 19th. Came out on Steam, PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. No news about Xbox or Switch. The studio is autonomous Sony, so it is not a full in-house studio, so they might decide later to release it, and they might have their option to release on different platforms, and I hope they do, because people on all platforms love cats and they would like to play as a cat, I'm sure. But for now it is on Steam and PlayStation 4 and 5. And this article from Cirrus Gaming: Stray breaks records of Annapurna Interactive on Steam. Now, I always, every time I saw that name attached to Stray, I always found it. They are the publishers of the game. And Purna. Plus there's some cat food that is called that, or very similar. So I always found it really funny. I never heard of them before Stray as well, so it's yeah, interesting. So they broke records of their previous games by, they just they shuttered them completely. Yeah, there's a post here from @BenjiSells on Twitter. Stray has shattered the concurrent players record for any Annapurna Interactive game on Steam, easily becoming its biggest PC launch ever. Yeah, over 50,000. Some estimates show that that's more than that. And look at the difference to previous games. 12 Minutes, Outer Wilds, Neon White, and Journey. I did not know Journey was from them until I came across it a couple of days ago. Which is great. Journey was a nice little game as well. I haven't seen any of the others, but I think they seem to have a good track record with games. I think I've heard of 12 Minutes. I think I kind of know what that is, but I don't want to be wrong, so I'm not going to say anything, but I think I know about that one. These two, never really heard of. But they seem to have a good track record. I'm really happy with this, with them having this success. I think they deserve it. And I really hope that that because of such a good release, and I'm sure they're making some good money, I hope we get to see some DLC for it, some stuff added to the game later on. I don't know their record in terms of their track record in terms of DLC releases. I'm not familiar with DLC for any of these games, so maybe they just release a game, that's it. Maybe do a few updates, make sure the game is running smoothly, and that's your product done. It's over with, and they move on to the next title. Fair enough if it is. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. On the other hand, I do hope that they launch that we get some post-release content for Stray. I've got the game wishlisted, and I will buy it at some point. Not yet. I did buy it at release, so I am supporting the studio. I just bought it as a gift for somebody else, and hopefully when the price comes down, I will buy it for myself. I was nearly buying it to play this weekend, but I decided I wanted to make this video that has been in the works for a while. I've been leaving notes for this video for a while now, so I thought I'd do this, and I'll play something else later on, and we'll hopefully see Stray on discount in the next few months, and I'll get to play it. Or one weekend I might just be bored. It's my birthday next month, so I might just be like, just download it and play it. But we'll see. I will definitely. I will play this game. I will play this game. I'm telling you that. Don't know if I'll make videos of it or whatever, because the game is a short game. It's 4.5 to 5 hours long. Maybe spend a bit more time if you really want to like get everything and discover everything. And there's, I mean, before the game was released, there was already YouTube was flooded with videos. After release, because it's such a short game, there were gameplays already posted on the day of release. So I don't think. I mean, if I do record some footage, I'll get something out. But yeah, we'll see about that one. If you like cats, it's a must-have. It is absolutely a must-have. It's the cat simulator that we've got, and it beats all the other simulators. I gotta say, because got kittens. Actually, we're giving away our kittens this weekend. Anyway, we move on to last bit of this video. God, I don't know how long we've been here for, because I didn't actually look at the time when we started recording, and video GeForce doesn't show me the time. But anyway, releases this month from what have we had? Well, this is on gamesradio.com, so you can visit there and see what's going on. We got some DLC. We had a Hot Wheels DLC for Forza Horizon 5. That is, definitely pretty cool. A Power Wash Simulator. This game, I know, is simulators for everything, which is why I was making a joke about Stray. But it is. I mean, it's to be fair, most of these games, they do look pretty good. They, fair enough. So there's that. Not really familiar with any of the others. Don't get me, it's not a dig at them. Just not familiar with the names. Probably some great titles on that. Stray, as you can see, is mentioned here. No idea what that is. We can see a lot of games for the platforms. Nice to see Switch keeps getting a lot of these, a lot of games ported to it, and the odd new release, which we'll get to in a second. Multiverses, I heard of this game, so this is coming out in a couple of days, and I've only heard of this game, I think, this week. Seems somewhat interesting. I do have some concerns with it, but you will have to wait and see until players get their hands on it. That's really the only way to judge games, and you get some genuine YouTuber that actually gives you, again, a genuine comment about the game. Genuine review, then you can go by that. It's hard to go by other things, especially the media. I'm familiar with Autonauts, but Pirate Bots, I've got no idea. So maybe I'm getting the title mixed up with other Autonauts in the past or whatever. Digimon Survive, I'm not familiar with any Digimon games. And one thing that I'm not really familiar with, but I'd like to be familiar with, is Xenoblade Chronicles. This is a Switch title only, and as you can see by the title, it is the third one, and obviously I haven't played any of them, and I'm quite annoyed about that. This is coming out at the end of the month, and I would like to get a Switch. I don't want to pay that money for that hardware, so I'm not bothering with it now. But it's definitely something that I have been watching a bit of. I have been even watching videos about the story of Xenoblade, on the previous games, because it's a franchise that I would have liked to have played, and I never did. Mostly because it was never on the platforms that I play, that I game with, and even these days where I play most platforms, I still don't have a Switch. So yeah, if it isn't on Sony, on Xbox, or on PC, specifically Steam, then I can't play it at the moment. And that is, for me, I mean, now after Stray, that is the biggest release of the month, and really the big one. I mean, Multiversus might hit well, might do very well. We'll have to wait and see. Xenoblade always has its fan base on Switch, so as long as they haven't screwed up the game, then I think it will do very well, like it's been doing for years. A very healthy community there. And I think that's going to be it. I'm not going to cover the the games with gold and the PlayStation Plus, and the reason for that is quite straightforward. It was already confusing before with the games with gold, when most of the better offers were on Game Pass, and now with PlayStation Plus moving to 3 different tiers, like you've got the base tier, Essential, which is the same as it was before, and then you've got Extra and you've got Plus. And actually Stray is for free on release with Extra or Plus. But if you've got the base PlayStation Plus, which is what the PlayStation Plus has been for years. So if you stayed on that tier, you don't get Stray. It's too many tiers to look at, with with different offers coming out. There's the Game Pass updates every month. So yeah, I'm not gonna cover that unless there's like a big game for free that I know about on Epic or something like that, then I might mention on a video. Otherwise, I'm just gonna leave it. Also, if you follow me on Discord, either myself or some bots or some other people will often post something about free games elsewhere. So that's one way to keep an eye on those things. So I'm not gonna waste time with that anymore. Or you can watch some other YouTubers like Skill Up was really on his weekly video. We mentioned on a video I think he calls it sort of free games, which obviously it is quite funny because yeah, they're not free. Obviously, you need to have the memberships and that. So there are other ways to find that information, and to be honest, with people with far better content and time to edit their videos, far better production value than I can offer. So yeah, you can do that. This will be it for now. Don't know when the next video is going to be. As usual, it could be in a month, 2 months, 3 months, whenever. But for now, we'll leave this. This is the thing. These are the things that I think are worth highlighting that happened over the past couple of months. I'm sure there are some other crazy shit that happened that I didn't talk about, but didn't leave a note of it. In fact, looking at my notes, there was indeed Gotham Knights that I was supposed to talk about, and that's a game that's either come out or coming out. I think it's coming out soon. And players are a little concerned about because the gameplay doesn't look too good. Graphics are we don't know, so that that might be an issue there, and that was definitely something that for me to look at for this video. But yeah, it's just if you manage this far in this video, just open a tab and check what's going on with Gotham Knights. Nothing like the Arkham Knights that we have played over the years, at least so far anyway. I think Youngye made a video on that, so you can check that out. Well, thank you all for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.